The countdown hit 0 and the rocket's engines roared. Blue flames exploded beneath us, pressing us into our seats as we broke through Earth's atmosphere. My stomach knotted with the weight of responsibility. My duty was to protect the 100+ people on board. As head of the vessel's military force, I was accountable for every soul on this mission. Exploration, discovery, and survival all depended on us. I reminded myself, this wasn't just a job, it was the chance of a lifetime. Our first stop came into view, a turbulent world churning with storm clouds and flickers of lightning. As we entered its atmosphere, rain lashed against the hull in sheets, and the whole ship shuddered under the pressure. I caught a glimpse of the landscape below, a coastal stretch battered by mountainous waves, an endless forest stretching beyond. We landed near the forest's edge, where our sensors had picked up solid ground. The downpour was relentless, but as soon as we entered the dense canopy, the storm noise muted, replaced by the hum of alien life. The air was thick with scents, earthy and lush, and the quiet made it feel like we'd stepped into another world altogether. I was on edge, scanning our surroundings, when something tugged at my hand. I looked down to see a strange little creature, resembling a miniature dinosaur, but covered in dense, leafy greenery, snatching the snack I'd forgotten I was holding. The little thief looked up at me with dark, curious eyes before darting back into the bushes. I laughed, waving my team over. "You all have to see this." As we marveled at the alien wildlife, the forest shifted, and we fell silent. Two figures, towering and majestic, stepped out of the shadows. The first was easily 10 feet tall, with limbs like ancient tree trunks and a face made of interwoven bark and leaves. Her long, braided vines hung down like hair, while a smaller, childlike figure stood beside her, its gaze just as unblinking. I felt every muscle tense as my team instinctively reached for their weapons. I held up a hand, signaling them to wait. Placing my hand over my heart, I nodded to the giant. She watched me with eyes full of intelligence, and after a moment, she extended an arm in return, a gesture of peace. The silence between us felt heavy, charged with an understanding that didn't need words. We were guests in their land, and in that gesture, it felt like we'd made an agreement, one of respect and mutual curiosity. As we explored further, we met more of the planet's inhabitants. They were humanoid but subtly different, taller, with a calmness that seemed woven into their very being. One woman stood out, golden-haired and serene, her gaze steady. She moved with a quiet grace, as if she'd always known we'd arrive. When I introduced myself, she nodded as if she'd been expecting me. Over time, we shared knowledge. We taught them about our tools and technology, while they showed us the secrets of their land. The soil here had an unforgettable scent, earthy and spicy, like cloves. When I ran my hand through it, the aroma intensified, rich and almost alive. She gestured that we could take some with us, a gift of sorts. By the time we prepared to leave, some of their people had chosen to join us, driven by their own curiosity about the stars. The golden-haired woman joined our crew, her face a mixture of determination and quiet wonder. When we lifted off, leaving the forest canopy behind, I felt a pang of regret, tempered by excitement for the journey ahead. These new allies would bring something unique to our mission, an outlook I sensed would change us in ways we hadn't anticipated. Our next landing seemed promising at first. We touched down near what looked like an academy, a complex of beautiful white structures with an organic, coral-like design. As we approached, I marveled at the intricate latticework that made up the walls, like woven stone frozen mid-growth. But as we descended, alarms sounded. Turrets emerged from hidden posts around us, and gunfire hammered the hull. I sprang to my feet and headed for the exit, brushing past the golden-haired woman. She reached out to me, her face clouded with concern, silently urging me to stay back. But I had a job to do. I couldn't risk the lives of everyone on board. Emerging from the ship, I launched into action, every instinct on high alert. Moving through the chaos, I dodged bullets, switching between weapons in perfect rhythm, diving, firing, and rolling with precision. One by one, I took down the attackers, who all looked like people, clearing the landing site before reinforcements could arrive. With the threat neutralized, I took a moment to catch my breath and survey the area. Up close, the buildings were even more stunning, the Voronoi patterns intricately carved into every wall. As I walked, I spotted students in clothes like that of Earth moving between classes, seemingly undisturbed by the battle that had just taken place. Returning to the ship, I found the captain and several crew members disembarking. Their faces were tense, wary. This place held beauty, yes, but I'd learned it also held dangers we hadn't anticipated. I barked orders to the team, sending them to secure key points around the landing site, mindful of potential ambushes. The golden-haired woman stood by me, watching the scene unfold. I caught her eye and saw both trust and something more, an understanding that our journey had changed. This mission had begun as an adventure, a journey to explore and learn. But in the vastness of space, I realized we'd need more than just curiosity to survive. Each step forward would demand both courage and caution. The galaxy was full of wonders and shadows, and we were only beginning to understand the balance required. And standing there with our new allies, I knew that our journey had only just begun.